Oh, there's Dean. What's up, Dean?
What's up, Rich?
Yay, we won.
Yeah, go to the playoffs. Let's go.
Got to pinch me. I can't believe it. We finally made it back. We won with your man Megatron Buckets.
Yes, sir.
This is the guy, the only person on the internet that said to trade for Jimmy Butler. That's Jimmy Butler.
Well, we needed him for the play-in, man.
I've got to find that video because you deserve props on that for sure. This was back in December. Man, 4 months ago, Dean called it. 4 months ago.
That was an incredible game.
Before Steve goes on the podium, you got to give me your recap.
First and foremost, Ja playing through the ankle sprain, I thought was really tough. Glad he's okay. Obviously, some calls here or there were a little tough, but there was something incredibly calm about the way the team played tonight, which was, I think, absent in the Clippers game. And gosh, I don't know. I'm just in cloud nine, man. Jimmy sounds like he's been on the team for 12 years, right?
I know,
He's only been here since February, and he's saying I'm Robin to Steph's Batman?
Yeah.
Amazing, man. I was not expecting that from Jimmy Butler, by the way.
Jimmy is the Hulk to Steph's Captain America. That's a good one. Yeah, the Batman one is a little too easy to do. Huh?
He seems to be a Batman fan. He's talking about Riddler and Penguin and all that. I don't even know what to say, really, Rich. Hey, at least we earned our playoff spot, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Go 25 and 26. We were like the 10th seed. All the clawing back we had to do, going 23 and 7 when Jimmy played in the regular season, and yet another playoff game against the Grizzlies, who are very comfortable in Chase Center. You know, unfortunately, John Morant was hurt. Obviously, you never like to see that, especially that was still his Steph injury that, you know, if you're a Warriors fan, you've seen that before. Just the snap of the ankle, come back and play through it. It's very tough. But Jimmy again, it feels like he's been on the team for 12 years. He knows exactly where Steph is. He and Draymond have synergy, and he also is throwing the ball to the other team in new and exciting ways. But causing a 5-second inbound, that's defensive focus we haven't seen since 2022. Even the playoff team we had in 2023, I don't think would have gotten that. I mean, they didn't to not even inbound the ball. That's a really good sign. You got to listen to this and then go check out
Jerry's
Pod, man.
Yeah. Let's Go Warriors podcast is back after 5 years.
Last time Rich did it, we had 3 rings, not 4.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, unbelievable. I listened to it like 3 times because I was surprised how well it flowed. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you got a good ear for editing.
Draymond said that JK will be meaningful in the next series. Yay, I'm relieved. I'm glad Slater asked that. I'm glad Draymond answered that.
Well, I was thinking about it since we were talking, and really the biggest thing is how Jonathan Kuminga himself responds to all this stuff. As much as that decision really made me upset last game, we're in the playoffs. Time to prove it. These have been some clutch, close games. There it is. There's the article. Please go leave a like.
Well, there's multiple articles. This one's the one before the Steve Kerr one. And I'm answering Bruce in the comments right now. He said that when Draymond said he'll be engaged, and Bruce went, oh, he wasn't engaged? The problem with JK is sometimes he watches, right? We know this. My issue is not that JK's role is diminished. My issue is that you are DNPing him to the point where he may not want to be on the team anymore, which then affects your salary cap situation and your manipulation of salary slots.
Yeah.
In other words, JK might want to demand a trade regardless of whether or not you match the restricted free agent offer. Eric G told me that you wouldn't be surprised if JK said, don't match the offer, Joe. I'm getting offered, X amount from whatever. Don't match it. I want to go. I'm out of here. And then we lose a salary slot. That would be.
Yeah, I don't think he would do that. We would be able to get him back and trade him, but
yeah,
the value is just not going to be there if he doesn't play. We're not going to get value back on that contract anyway. More than that, I think if he does play well, it gives us a much better chance to win. It's all about how he responds.
I'm being very forgiving to JK right now because, if he mentally gets through this, good on him. And if he doesn't, then that's not his fault. If he's mentally out of it, to me, it's not his fault. I mean, that sometimes the choices you make tonight, we won. And I want to remind everybody, Steve was wrong. The last game, we lost that game, but sometimes we win. And so it can be the right choice, and still you're going to get an angry player. And I don't want to hear anybody, there may be subliminal, quote unquote, messages from Draymond on the podium to JK, but don't blame JK for anything, because I've been in JK's shoes. You prove it, you're talented, you're talented. And yeah, there's some things that don't click for you, but to have a freaking DNP, it's just like, okay, you don't want me on the team, then I get the message. Then I'll go to another team because there's 29 other of them. And I'm young and I need to sow my oats. And yeah, I make these mistakes. So what? There's a lot more other guys making mistakes out there. There's teammates making more mistakes than me right now against LA, So like,
yeah.
I do not want any blame for anything on JK other than how he used to play. And then now that might get affected. If he plays on Sunday and he does the same shit, he watches, he jumps, and he can't reach the ball, and he's reaching in on defense, he gets the ball and he attacks, and then he gets it turned over, those kinds of same kind of issues that I wrote about here, then I'll be the first one on the screen to say, JK, you're doing it again, and this and that. But nobody deserves the DNP, I mean, I get it. It's not very creative on Steve's part. I will give Steve a huge excuse, which is it's hard to prepare for these teams in 48 hours. And if you've decided Gary Payton needs to play the game and defend Harden or defend Ja Morant, then that's the choice. And in fact, I might have done the same thing with the Memphis game, whereas against Clippers, I could see Harden being in there against JK. Like, Gary wasn't that effective on that, but it's all hindsight is 2020. So I get it, but that's the price you pay. Like, I've been there where, I couldn't play a guy, and then he got disappointed and never wanted to play for me again. You can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. If I had to be subjected to those basketball gods things, then Steve should not be immune to it either. If I had to go through that, then Steve should go through that, because it's basketball. So I don't blame JK, and I don't blame myself. Back in the day when I sat my friend Evan, when I sat Ryan Sasanto, when I sat Josh Tondo, who later played in the Philippines as a pro and became known as Fireball and was about just as famous as Steph Curry, relatively speaking, out there in the Philippines. I benched him. Of course, I didn't DNP him, but still, he yelled at me in front of the entire gym in New York. It was embarrassing. It happens. I just think there might have been a way to avoid that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too idealistically. I want to remind everybody, people don't know this. This would be my last point. Albert Einstein could not accept quantum mechanics. He just could not. He's like, what the heck, man? In fact, he wrote a paper to go, I did your equations, these quantum mechanics equations. I figured out there's this thing where this can have information, and the information will be opposite of that over there instantly. That totally defies what I just theorized to everybody in general relativity, which is nothing can be faster than the speed of light. So you're telling me this electron spinning, based on the math, I did the math, which was genius, by the way. I can have the electron show this characteristic, and automatically it's this entanglement. It's this spooky action at a distance. No way. And yet it's been proven recently. It took decades to come to a 99.9% proof that quantum entanglement exists. In fact, we're using it right now in quantum computing as it gets developed. Even Albert Einstein could not get over that hump. That's why I wrote the article here, is that I hope Kuminga stays with us. And I look at it as, I wrote it in the article, I look at it as a family. We're all brothers. And I told Dean this, and it's like the dad is kicking out one of the kids, one of our brothers. And we're like, come on, Dad, just work it out. Come on, Dad, don't do it. And it's just not working out. So we'll see. I could be wrong. I wrote that I could be wrong. There's many things. We don't know what's going on in the locker room. It's hard to predict.
I love that on here we can bring up quantum entanglement and Einstein to explain why Kerr might be so great at all these things, and for whatever reason find it easy to commit to JK or whatever. And also that we do, I think everyone on here feels that brotherhood thing, that family thing that you were talking about, for sure. I can just tell in the way the regulars comment that we all feel that way about the team. My only thing is, this has been going on for a lot longer than the past few days, and just give the young guy confidence, man. It's not even the not playing or the DNP, which is tough. And I don't want to talk about this too much because we won. I just want to see some forgiveness of him, confidence building, that type of stuff. The reason for that is not only because I like Kuminga, I always liked his story and his personality and everything, but I just think the dude's really good. If you get the best out of him, if you look to get the best out of him and take him under your wing instead of demanding perfection, he offers this team something that we don't have even with Butler. Great as Jimmy is, there's no one who can sky like that to the rim. There's no one who has the passing and shooting and driving to the hoop and the defensive capabilities and just that huge size. We will find out at some point what's going on, but if we can get rid of it, coalesce around a common goal and a common way of playing, which seems like right now it's Jimmy's team, as you were saying, and I like it.
Crazy.
Let's just let Jimmy run it.
I actually don't trust
Steph. We'll be good.
I don't trust Steph as much, even though Steph comes with the daggers. I get it, but
I trust Steph. I just feel like really
I trust
strange.
Jimmy more than I trust Steph right now.
No, I can't
Just
say
the turnovers.
He's Steph Curry. He's got a messed up tailbone and a really messed up thumb, and he's still putting up 37 points.
Yeah,
hitting daggers and stuff. So. But how strange we are when we play through Jimmy, that like motion meets ISO. Honestly, there's no comparison to 2017 at all. That's the greatest team of all time. But even KD didn't change the offense, fit in. And the fact that Jimmy's able to change the offense when just give me the ball, our offense has changed. That's incredible. It really is. I don't even know. It's not quite drive and kick, even though he does a lot of that. It's just constant, I guess, decision making, because you cannot play quantum defense. You have to actually pick one spot to be where you are. Oh, yeah, it's 2017's greatest team of all time. Come on. How are you going to argue that?
But I like what Pinky said right here, which is just JK can decide for his career. If he chooses to leave the Warriors, he's entitled to. After this decision of him not playing, if he chose to stay, he needs to improve and not be making the same mistakes.
I want to reiterate, he is a restricted free agent. We can just match whatever.
Yeah, I think we know that. No, if he demands a trade, you got to trade him. Dean, come on now. It's 2020.
No, but he can't just leave in free agency for nothing. We can match. Sure. We can match any contract. That's the Warriors' right.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. If Steve had evolved over time and became this super genius, again, he's a genius, but every genius has their Achilles heel. I've just been in JK's situation before, and I mean, I get it. I keep going back and forth it's okay, but I'd be pissed if I were JK. It's okay, I'd be pissed. Giving JK just a few minutes versus DNP, what's the difference, right? It's either going to be 10 to 18 minutes or not. And then you could say, just like Eric G said, if it was Tyronn Lue, another genius, he would have figured out a way. Maybe Willie Green would have figured out a way. Who knows? At least I'm back and forth. I'm not totally mad at Steve anymore.
Oh, we won.
Yes, we won. Yeah.
I just don't think we're going anywhere unless we get something out of him. We need him for this playoff run. We need him. We have to get something out of him, and he has to take advantage of the situation. And I just don't understand demanding perfection from him when you could just give him confidence. That's really what Steve Kerr has been doing. He's demanding perfection from Jonathan Kuminga, and I don't agree with that. But if we want to win, we got to play him. That's what I think.
And just to close it out, Jasmine says, has Steve been asked about JK? He was asked about if he talked to JK at all about the reduced role, and Steve said, no comment. That remains private. Go, Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce says, if I'm JK, I see the ball as Kerr's head and try to dunk it every time. That's a good way to segue off to some other topics.
Yeah. My mom called me right at the end of the game. She told me she was almost sick. That's how exciting and nervous it was for her. They never call me right after the game. They'll text and whatever and be like, congratulations, or tough loss, but they're just celebrating. My dad was very calm. He was like, I don't know how you do this. Don't you feel nervous and sick? And I was like, honestly, at this point, this is every night. I feel that way every night. We were second this year with 45 clutch games played, and we played 48 last year. Plus another one. It's 94 clutch games we played in the last 2 years. 94 winnable games. Imagine this team finally gets to do that, but then we play them again. We've already prepared, and we get to play them the next game after that. That's something where it's just totally different, being able to look at Kerr's adjustments, Draymond, Steph, Jimmy now, their adjustments. That's one of the best parts of the playoffs, really, is how do we solve this? And you cannot do that in the regular season, even if you play a team back to back, which doesn't happen much. It's just not the same. And lest we forget, the Warriors, before the recent stretch, the Dynasty Warriors that made a lot of playoffs and won a lot of series, were at one point, I think, undefeated in the West for 8 years, or something like that. A huge part of that is being able to shift the pieces around and be able to adjust to basketball math. Kerr, I got to give Kerr credit that he's about the most trustworthy coach in the league, other than Spoelstra, I would say, on that type of stuff for the modern game. And we made the playoffs tonight, Rich. It's been so long. We made the playoffs tonight.
We stumbled through to the finish line.
Don't care. We're in. We are in.
Yeah.
We're in the playoffs. And no, we took that, man. That's the Grizzlies. Hurt Ja or not, they are not afraid in Golden State. We went out and got it.
Yeah.
I know it was only one season. It was only last season, or he didn't make it. And we made the playoffs the season before. But it has been so long.
Yeah.
Watching the Celtics versus the Mavericks in the finals last year feels like it's been 15 years ago. It's to finally make it back. Oh, man, I can't even tell you how excited I am. This is the best time of the year. And we get to play the Rockets, who hate us. I'm like, cool. Let's go.
Yeah, what a relief. The Discord doesn't have anybody beyond Draymond, so we'll wait around. I think we are waiting around for Steph. Steph and Cannon in his jersey. Little boy. Steph and Riley. We got some fans that's happening.
Warriors! We're back! Warriors, baby, let's go!
I wonder how many journalists are going to predict, how ESPN has those list of journalists that predict who's going to win what. I wonder how many will vote for the Warriors and how many will vote for the Rockets.
No, we ought to get at least a 12 to 14% chance.
That's it?
It's a joke, Rich. That's what they voted in the 22 finals.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten it was that low.
No, they started off 14%. Then after we lost game one, they put it down to 12%. No hard feelings or anything. Just a little joke. Who hates us more, the Grizz or Rockets? This is why I just wanted to play the Nuggets, the honorable veteran team. It's young teams, man. There's nothing they want to do. Listen, because we could be the champions or we could be the 7th seed. We're still the old bull.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron too, but different teams, different cities, and every one of these young teams wants to buck with us, man. It doesn't matter. It's all sports hate too. It's not real hate. Obviously, I've heard Draymond talk about how much he loves Tari Eason, and Udoka obviously respects us from finals and all that. So Ime Udoka ran up on Steph Curry on the other side of the court during a regular season game. Let's see Game 7 in Houston if we get there.
They won the game, so.
They did. And we had also, the other thing is until this season, we had beaten them like 16 straight times in a row or something like that. It was a lot.
Yeah, they had to go through a rebuild.
But that winning streak went back to 2020. I think we beat them twice out of 15 wins. Always a good time. Warriors, Rockets. Just hope, Steph again. Never mind. He'll be all right. He's already banged up enough. He's got the butt pad on. Got the thumb brace, that massive thumb brace. Oh, I yelled Boston too on that final three of Steph's where he pump faked and leaned forward. And it just felt like we had to get that one. And he really didn't shoot the ball very well today. But that's Steph Curry, man. On the line, he's more confident than he ever was in the 2010s too. Man. You almost wish you could put his mind back then. 2016, 15, or whatever.
He does need to get healthy. I guess if I do a live stream, they want us to do this on Friday. They voted for Friday. All right. Any closing thoughts?
1, 2, or 5. Got to get one on the road. We're finally talking about this again. And then defend home court 3, 4, and 6. Game 7s are always tough. You never know about that. Yeah, I'm excited to face the Rockets. As rough as it was getting to this point in some ways, to be able to face a Houston team in the first round that is, again, a little bit like those Grizzlies, I think, in 22.
Yeah, it's funny how similar they are.
15, we faced them in the conference finals, 16 in the first round. I don't think we faced – did we face them in 17? 18 conference finals, 19 second round, and yet again, first round here in 2025. That's a lot of Rockets, man. All with James Harden, of course, back then. This is not the worst playoff outcome for the Dubs. Obviously, if we lose, you could say it might be, but we're not facing the Thunder, not in the first round.
Speaking of Harden, we were so kind of dismayed after that game, but Harden was freaking awesome against us the other night. Obviously, Kawhi was great too, but like James just controlling the game and the tempo.
He's a less ISO ball kind of guy, but also, I like Bill Simmons. He's talking about Zubats maybe being third team All NBA, and the more I think about it, that guy was huge to them. Like the reason that they're so dangerous is because they have a Zubats in the lane who's just eating up rebounds and flicking in high percentage shots, setting bone-crushing screens.
It's the tempo that's set by James Harden. And also, I thought him and Kawhi did a really good job of choosing when to shoot a three and not, because people got all up in arms about Zubats having 17 rebounds and all that. And I think it's just because there weren't any long rebounds. There were very few long rebounds, which you get on casting away on threes. So they managed the game to perfection. Yeah, credit to the Clippers, but yeah, that should be a fun series over there against the Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah.
I mean, it's good to close on this, I think, just talking about as we approach 5 hours on the live here is like, man, the Western Conference playoff matchups are pretty exciting. I mean, Anthony Edwards against the Lakers, that's fun. OKC against whether it's Memphis or OKC Memphis would be really fun, wouldn't it?
I think it might be the Mavericks.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that'd be crazy.
Why do you say that? Since there's really
just because of everything they've gone through.
Oh, okay.
Fire Nico and the Luka trade and all the injuries and stuff. And I'm not trying to disrespect the Grizzlies. I was very impressed with how mature they played today. I was very impressed by that. I think it's a huge leap for them.
You know who reminds me of the old Memphis Grizzlies, right? But now this version, who reminds you of like Kyle Anderson, but probably better?
Oh, Aldama.
I know. He's damn good.
They draft well, man.
Good.
Grizzlies front office is excellent.
Yeah.
They always fund somebody. Desmond Bane was like
Scottie Pippen Jr., man. How do you pick that? That's amazing.
I actually like Desmond Bane in that draft. I don't know how. I just ran across him at TCU looking at because the Warriors sucked. So I was looking at draft prospects in 2020. Oh, he was the last pick of the first round. Right. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I just liked his shooting plus his football player physique, which is even more so now that he's older. But something tells me it's going to be Anthony Davis. I think and Klay Thompson and just this no one believes in us Mavericks team. Any one of those teams versus the Thunder should be fun. Just because of the underdog status. Obviously, Warriors, Rockets should be great. Lakers, Timberwolves. That's way more now a style makes fights type of thing, right?
Every night is going to be so fun to watch from the West. Oh, we just crossed 5 hours, but yeah, one thing at a time.
Oh, we're in the playoffs, Rich.
Yeah.
Finally back where we really belong.
What a sigh of relief.
It's joy, too. The playoffs are a whole different animal. The Warriors in the playoffs. The lights are different. I don't even know how to describe it. It's golden, really.
Winning does heal a lot. I mean, it's making me feel less upset than I was a couple of days ago about JK not playing. It's interesting how that works.
Winning cures all, Rich.
Yeah, it does. Time also heals all wounds, so it's been a few days now. Again, I do think JK will be included again in the game plan. It's a 7-game series, so there's no reason not to. You want to maximize him by the end of the series, You want to have this weapon available for you. The team is just going to keep getting better and better. And the playoffs are a different animal. We might get better by other teams not being as good in the playoffs is one way to get better as well. So we'll see. Feels much better. Yeah. Winning cures all.
Also, JK had a great game against the Rockets. He had 34 points against the Rockets when Steph was out. Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember what arena it was in, but either way, he played great against them. Athleticism, youth. It is easier for a player like him to utilize that against other guys his age. He played on the G League Ignite with Jalen Green. This is probably the best outcome for him, too. And not that Jonathan Kuminga has to get 34 points a night or something for him to be impactful. That's not what I'm saying.
He just needs to put pressure on the rim, and that's it. Not do the turnovers, and pretty much he'll be fine.
Just hustle plays, man. When in doubt, look for Jimmy or Steph, or Draymond. So back to being confident. Back to being confident about the team, about Coach Ice. Gary Payton, too.
Yeah, Gary definitely stepped up, hit a couple threes, 2 for 6, 5 for 10 overall. What's your Coach Ice thing? Is that some reference to ISO ball, or what is that?
No, that's his nickname on Basketball Reference. I think they called him that on the Bulls.
Steve?
Ice.
Oh, they called him Ice. Okay, so he's
He's Coach Ice. He's our guy. And so is John, man. That's just who we are. This is our team that we've chosen to be truthful about, obviously on here, talking basketball with you guys, but also stick up for every one of them. And that's just what makes us different than what are basically a lot of basketball comedy shows. Guys trying to make jokes and South Park. I love South Park, but
yeah,
sometimes we need to be a little more innocent than that, and just totally commit to the team.
That's what I wanted to, find a space for that, and we found it. It's great. I thought about that, because I was writing the article about Kerr's a genius, but he still has an Achilles heel type deal, and what are our fears? Why can't we get over this one habit? I thought, for me, wow, I was always the guy that couldn't get the joke, whether it was a cultural thing and son of an immigrant parents landing in American high school and not really getting it, So I grew up kind of like the guy that couldn't take a joke. And you know how in America it's cool if you can take a joke and then come back with a funnier joke. That's how you gain points on the playground type thing.
Yeah.
I was never good at that, and I wasn't good at that after the creation of Let's Go Warriors, because I told you somebody in the comments on the website was saying that I'm hypersensitive. So I kind of, instead of being hypersensitive about being called hypersensitive, I'm sitting there going, okay, why am I like that? And so I just think, okay, at least I get why I'm like that.
You took it personally, Rich.
But what if we created an environment where people in the comments weren't always that way? It wasn't just a comeback fest,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
we were able to do
a
that
mechanism too, and it's also a good tool if you don't know what to say to, not that there's anything wrong with it. Just on here, we're pretty dedicated to one team. We know them pretty well. So there's always something to go in depth about rather than the latest news or whatever. I think you don't need to worry about anything, Rich. You're kicking ass, man.
Oh, thanks. I mean, it's always cool to, that's the other thing of what we got here in the comments. And every time we do a live chat, is like, wow, we really support each other. And that's what I always wanted to find a place for that rather than the constant competition.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, when the guy called me hypersensitive in the comments, I'm like, man, I mean, how about be supportive? But then you can't be too needy about that. No, but it's great to have a place, to always have this safe place to go to. And we get to do this every time the Warriors play, and we'll do it on Friday, even though they're not playing. So
where can they find the podcast, Rich? Where did you upload it to?
It's on our YouTube channel.
It's also on Spotify too.
Yeah, just search Let's Go Warriors. You'll find it. It's incredibly easy.
I'm just psyched for the podcast. It was great. And your opening intro, I thought we got to hear Rich just without having to set up the computer or do all the in-game stuff you're doing, wait for a tip off and all, respond to comments.
Yeah.
I just thought that opening intro was excellent, and I would love to hear you do that a lot more. And thank you so much for having me be a part of that. I bragged to my mom and dad. Hey, Mom and Dad, I'm on Spotify.
Oh, that's sick. I know, right? Yeah. That is exciting, honestly.
Made my day, Rich. You always
really?
do.
Oh, cool, man. I'm glad. Yeah. Scotty holds Steph. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was complaining about it during the play-by-play. Scottie Pippen was holding Steph. That was part of my play.
Yeah. That's the other thing. All these young players really love Steph. They're giving him hugs and patting him on the head, they really love him a lot when they're playing defense against him.
Yeah, perfect one to end the live on. So let's pull up the Cholo file.
Yes, sir.
Boom, here we go.
Today he came back. He came in today talking about how he got a new blicky.
For the uninformed, what's a blicky?
How you don't know about no blicky, man? You had a blicky? You told me you had a blicky growing up. Yeah. You was a shooter. A strap. Yeah, that's a blicky.
More fire.
Techie. All right. Thank you, Dean. See
Yes,
ya.
sir. You're the man, Rich. Playoffs.
No, I forgot to end the poll. Rooting for sack, picking sack. Ooh,